What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I said I was going to try and cover everything on this channel. So today we've got posing lesson with my posing coach Isaac. Today we're going to go through PCA posing for men's physique. So we're going to hit the mandatory poses. There's 8 poses in total, 4 overhead and 4 other ones. And then we're just going to go through an eye walk. I'm going to let Isaac take the reins on this. It's going to be a bit of a tutorial for you guys. So yeah, hope you enjoy. We're going to get straight into it now.
So guys, my name is Isaac Francis. I am the owner of Motion Performance, which is a men's physique health platform. Also, we help a lot of lifestyle clients get in shape. So today we're going to obviously take Shane through his posing today. So we're going to go through the PCA posing. We're going to cover the mandatory poses, transitions, and also talk about the eye walk. So there's a lot to talk about with PCA posing. You've probably seen it yourself. A lot of poses. So we're just going to break it down into a simple bits that you guys can take in and help you in your journey as well. All right, let's get cracking. Cool. So first thing we're going to do, I'm going to get Shane to hit his front pose. We've been working on this by ourselves before, but I'm going to see if we can just show you guys different type of front poses that you normally see guys hit on the PCA competition. So I'm going to get Shane to hit a front pose where we have one arm on the hip like this. Basically what you want to do here is you want to twist your hips away. You probably want to stand on your dominant leg as well, and then flare your lats out and have one arm on the hip. So this arm here, if your dominant leg is your right leg, so you want to put all your weight onto the right side and have your left arm on your left hip. Alright, so I'm going to get Shane to do that. Cool. As you can see here, Shane, we've already hit this pose a long time, so you can see he's got his lats nicely flared. So that obviously shows the illusion of him having a nice big taper. His delts is nice and capped, and you can see he's leaning towards the side. Again, that's exaggerating that taper a little bit more, and twisting that hip slightly away like this. Again, that creates a bigger taper. What I'm going to get Shane to do now, I'm going to get him to grab onto his waist like this. Good. Again, this is going to help you to kind of pop that delts out a little bit more, and also help you to keep your lats out of that side. Because I find like a lot of guys, when they're holding that pose for a while, you will get tired and this arm just chill down if you're like this. But when you've locked it in like this, it keeps that lats out. Cool, perfect. Perfect, you can relax now. So the next pose for PCA, you're always quarter turning to the right, alright? So when you're here, what you want to do next is kind of just bring this leg over like this, and then bring the right leg over like that. So you want to have the legs closest to the judges as straight as possible. So like this, alright? And the next thing you want to do is have your left arm on that left hip. And this is predominantly going to be an oblique shot. So you want to show off your obliques and twist a little bit like this, so you have a little bit of your delt showing at the side, and hold that pose like that. So that's what I'm going to get Shane to hit for you now. Yeah. So after that front pose, good. As you can see, he's going to now bring that left leg around, boom, and then there you go. Perfect. Again, you can see here, he's showing a little bit of that delt at the side. Oblique shots, obliques are coming in, and the arms, same thing, you want to just grab onto that waist for the same reason, so you can help flare that lats out that side. Good. Perfect. Again, we're going to quarter turn to the right, and then this time it's going to be a back pose. So with the back pose, after you hit this pose, you twist, and this is where a lot of people get wrong, and we're going to go through how you can hit that back pose and nail it every single time on point. Alright, so you can turn around, Shane, go straight to that back pose. Good. Alright, so we're going to go through a little cues for people, because Shane is obviously used to hitting this back pose. So we're going to go through a cue that if you haven't hit this back pose before, you can nail it every single time perfectly. Alright, Shane, you drop your elbows down all together. So what I'm going to get Shane to do, I'm going to get him to rotate his delts forward like this. Rotate that delts forward, all the way forward. As you can see now, his lats is nice and flared. It's literally at full capacity. What I'm going to get him to do now, after he's done rotating his shoulders forward, is now bump his chest nice and high. The chest is nice and high, and now what he's going to do then is stick his chest up, retract the scapula a little bit, boom. Look at that. Ta-da! Back pose, nice wide width in his lats. You see a little bit of density obviously with his lower back coming in as well. The leaner he gets, the more you'll be able to see the definitions come through. And obviously you want to have your elbows nice and low here. So the thing is, if your elbows is too high, you're going to lose a little bit of your lats. But now that it's nice and low, you can see that full depth of his lats coming in at the lower back here, and obviously leading up to the front. Let me show you how it is when his elbows is too high, okay? This is it. Now elbows nice and high. And you can see, it's kind of lost a little, it's lost a lot of its lats. I know you can see a lot of people try to force the lats out by bringing the elbow really high, but now you've lost it. So what you want to do is drop the elbows nice and low, rotate the shoulders forward, so reset. Boom, just up. There you go. Nice thick lats over here, and that's basically how you hit that back pose. And this is how you nail that back pose every single time. You can relax here. Perfect. So after we've hit this pose here, hit the back pose, next thing we do, we always turn it to the right with PCA, okay? So from here, again, twist, hit the side shot. Again, the legs close to the judges is nice and straight. So this leg close to the judges is nice and straight. Again, rotate, hit that side shot again. And obviously you want to show a little bit of the delt at that side too, okay? Alright, Shane, get you to do that. So from the back pose, good, boom. There it is, look at how obliques come in. That's perfect. That's such a perfect pose there. Again, obliques coming in here. The leg close to the joint is nice and straight. Delts coming in here. Twist a little bit more, show off a little bit the abs. Perfect, such a perfect pose there. And that's basically how you hit that side pose. Next thing you do, you're gonna go back into that front pose now. So from here, again, you wanna bring the left leg together, put the big leg back. You're gonna twist and go back into that front pose. So let's go for that shoe. And then back in that front pose. Obviously, there's a lot of footwork there that obviously we haven't spoke about. But again, I'm going to try and break that footwork down as basically as we can when we start talking about the transitions and stuff like that. But this is basically how you hit the first half of the PCA poses. It's the front half, one hand on the hip, this one there. So this is basically how you hit the PCA pose with the one arm on the hip here. And so it's all about just making sure that we've nailed these poses here. Boom. And back to the front poses. Alright, so the next set of poses we're going to work on is this one over here, okay? So the next set of poses we're going to work on is the ones where we have the arms over the head like this. So there's another 4 sets of poses like that. Boom, boom, boom. That one there. And then we're going to finish it off with this. So with Shane, I'm going to get Shane to demonstrate it for you. And we're going to obviously break it down for you guys also, if you can nail that pose like perfectly every single time. Alright, so again, with posing, you always think about starting from the ground up. So the first thing I'm going to get Shane to do is obviously get his footwork on point. So the same way we hit that front pose where we're putting all of our weight onto the dominant leg, like this, we're going to get Shane to do that, but instead of putting the arm on the hip, we're going to have the arm overhead like that, alright? Let's go for it, Shane. Perfect. Great. Again, with another trick you want to do, so obviously when you're hitting this pose, again, Shane is hitting it on point because we've had a lot of sessions. So instead of hitting the pose, actually, let me demonstrate it for Shane. So most people, I keep getting electric shock. Most people hitting that pose will twist the arm down like this, or do something like this, and you kind of lose a lot of your lats. Alright, hitting it like that, and your arm, sometimes the arm is way too high, and they're hitting the shot like this, alright? What you want to think about when you hit the shot is bringing your elbows forward and wrist back, which flares out your lats a little bit more. As you can see now, his lats is nice and flared. And obviously keeping your abs tight and keeping that bicep kind of tense as well, alright? Perfect. So the next thing we're going to do, again, we're going to quarter turn to the right, like always. And I'm going to get Shane, again, bring that leg over, so the leg close to the judge is nice and straight. And then we're going to have one arm, literally grabbing onto your neck, and then tensing your obliques, alright? Let's go for that, Shane. Yeah. Perfect, there it is. Boom. As you can see, such a great pose here. This arm essentially just hangs down. So when you're hitting this pose, the arm at the other side just hangs down. And this side over here, he's going to focus on just tensing that obliques, but he doesn't want to crouch down. You never want to crouch down. You want to be nice and tall and have that man-muscle connection with your obliques to keep that nice and sharp. That's a very good pose there. Perfect. Next thing it's going to do, again, it's going to quarter turn to the back. I'm going to hit a back double bicep pose. But instead of the fist out, we're going to have the fist open, okay? Perfect. Let's go for that, Shane. Up, down, and open up. And the reason you see him doing that up, down, open up is just to give some kind of flair into the posing. We don't want to be robotic with our posing. We want to add a little bit of flair into it and just make it look a lot nicer. Again, when he's hitting that back double bicep pose, there's different ways of hitting that pose. Again, the same thing he's doing is bringing the elbows forward and his back. And if he doesn't do that, this is how the back pose will look like. So, ooh, jeez, time, bro. So yeah, good. So you can see like he's lost that back pose there, but if he tries to bring that elbows forward, everything pops out. The difference is night and day. So you're always going to make sure when you hit that double bicep pose, you bring that wrist back and elbows forward and flaring that left out. It's going to make your back pop a little bit more. Perfect. And now we're going to transition into the next shot. So the next shot, again, is still twisting to the side. You're having that leg closer to the shoulder straight, one arm above the head and testing the obliques. Alright, let's go for a shot. Good. Again, this obliques is definitely sharper on this side. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, all the obliques coming in here. Legs close to the judges is nice and straight. Arm is above his head. The other arm like this is just hanging down, and it's obviously tensing the obliques. It looks nice and sharp. Perfect. Next thing we're going to do here is going to bring the left leg together. Right leg goes back. He's going to twist, and he's going to actually hit this pose here and finish off with that pose. Let's go for a shot. So the last mandatory pose for the PCA is this pose here, and this pose is basically called the abdominal type pose. Obviously, predominantly showing off the abdominal pose. Same thing again. Instead of having one arm over your neck, we're going to have both this time. Just going to tense down and breathe out this time. But again, you don't want to crouch too much. You want to just tense your arms down without making yourself look too short. Stand nice and proud. Tense your abs. And then boom, I'm going to let him have a break now. Alright guys, cool. So now you've obviously seen the mandatory poses that we worked on with Shane. Now we're going to talk about transitions. Now, transitions, you probably see loads of guys hit the transitions. You know, it looks sick, but there's also utilities behind the transitions. You can make them obviously, move from pose to pose nice and seamless. You can use them as breathing techniques, so before you hit your pose, you kind of catch a little bit of breathing and breath before you hit your poses. And also it looks generally nice, it's good to have a transitions mixed with your mandatory poses. So with Shane, we're going to go through transitions together. I'm going to show you what we've worked on with Shane to kind of make his pose look seamless and kind of flow really nicely. So with Shane, we always start off our front pose with just covering that waist like this, hiding our waist there, and then going into the front pose. The reason we do that again is to come and cover that waist so he can breathe for a second, compose himself, and then when he's ready, he opens up and hits that front pose. Alright, go into it, Shane, let's have a look. There it is. As you can see, he held it for a second, composed himself, breathe for a second, and open up, and then he's hitting the front pose. Next thing we're going to do now, we're going to transition from this pose now onto the next pose. In order for us to do that, again, we want to cover that waist. You can relax for a second, Shane. We want to cover that waist. The reason behind that is, let's say for example, you're here and you did a transition, you went straight into this pose, you will have the tendency to kind of like have a little bit of an overspill. So we want to like kind of hide that as much as we can. Because sometimes you wouldn't even know that you're doing it and you are doing it. So again, we're going like this, hitting our front pose, and we're going to have our arm up like this, kind of covering that waist. Again, hiding that waist a little bit, breathe for a second, and then open up and hit your side pose, alright? I'm going to get Shane to show you how it's done. Good. Now we're going to transition. As you can see, coming out waist, boom, now open up, boom, and he's ready. Great. Same thing again, as we're going to turn into the next pose. So he's going to do the exact same thing, okay? So we're here now, he's going to twist into the back pose, going to bring that arm up, and twist, and hit that back pose. Alright, let's go for it, Shane. Boom. Nice. And back pose. Perfect. And it's generally the same thing for every other pose right now. So Shane will obviously show you what the next pose looks like. Again, from here, what he's going to do, he's going to twist, cover that waist again, hold for a second, breathe, and then hit that side pose again. Let's go for it, Shane. Good. Perfect. And now this is something, especially if you're putting all of your weight onto your left side, this transition here is just going to help you flow nicely. If you watch his footwork, so he's got his right leg straight, close to the judges, his left leg is behind him. What I'm going to get him to do is bring his left leg together, and as he's doing this, simultaneously he's going to bring his right arm up, like this, right arm goes up, right leg goes back, and what I'm going to get him to do is twist, and he'll cover his waist again with his left arm, and then hit that front pose again. Alright, let's go for it, Shane. So boom, 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 and then open up. Again, as as you can see, there's no opportunity for him to have that spill with his midsection because we're covering that waist every time we move. And that's kind of the reason why we do that a lot, of being an arm up like this. And also, so he can breathe before he hits each pose. So he can hold the pose for longer predominantly. Alright, you can relax. Perfect. And that's basically what transitions, the utility behind transitions, especially for the PCA competitions. When you're talking about these ones over here, they generally follow the same rule. Again, I can set it up in a different way, but what you want to think about is covering your waist when you're moving from pose to pose, and also you want to like also cover the waist so you can breathe, you know, compose yourself before you go into your pose, so you're not really jittery, like, so you can also hold that pose for a lot longer. So we're not going to go into the next set of poses because they all kind of follow the same kind of rules. But yeah, if you think about it, guys, when you're moving from pose to pose, the transitions don't only make you look sick, but it's also the utility behind the transitions like we just spoke about. Cool, guys. So we spoke about the mandatory pose and we spoke about the transitions. The next thing we're going to speak about is the eye walk, or the individual presentation, as we like to call it. So with PCA and most other federations, we always do an individual presentation. Okay, and this is your opportunity here to kind of showcase your physique, showcase your personality within your physique. I think a lot of people forget that with men's physique, it's not only about your shape and the condition, but you also get judged on your presentation. So this is something that you cannot forget, and you really got to put a lot of attention to it. And the way PCA generally sets up the eye walk is, after you've done your comparison rounds is when you do your eye walk, okay? So, for example, you're going to start from the back, you're going to call out your number, you're going to hit your front pose, or any pose, like this, from the back. It's either going to be an X or a box in the middle of the stage. You're going to walk into that middle of the stage where there's an X or a box, hit your front pose again, and this is generally when you start your eye walk, right? So obviously me and Shane have been working for quite a while. I'm going to get Shane to demonstrate how, you know, we've worked on the eye walk, and this is something you can start obviously looking for yourself and trying to see how you can implement that within your presentation and between your preparation for your competition. So I'm going to hand it over to Shane, and he's going to show you his eye walk.
Ready? So there you have it, guys. That was the PCA posing with my posing coach Isaac. We went through your 8 mandatory poses, we went through transitions, and we also showed you a sneak peek of my eye walk, which I'm going to be doing on 2nd of July. What you've seen there is I'm officially 12 weeks out, so it's coming quick, it's coming fast, but I make sure I'll be ready with the posing side of things anyway. So if you like this video, guys, please subscribe, leave a comment, don't forget to like, and I'll see you again next time.